last week we were discussing a bunch of guys we saw growing up throughout our childhood and kind of reliving those days about, wow, this guy used to play for this team. Wow, that's a name I haven't heard of. And I know we do that often, and we're like, man, we should probably turn this into a segment. Who was the guy that I named last week that kind of tipped us off?
I can't remember off the top of my head. You were talking about a couple ball players, but I mean, there's so many out there. Like, I think when you find out some guys are still in the league, and usually it takes till about this time, about March, it really just stumps you thinking, man, like, is that guy still trying to make it? Like, I found out. So a couple names I wrote down. Corey Knables is in camp right now. He was like a 30, 40 game. He was a closer over Hader a couple years ago,
You're
and he's in
right.
camp. He's with the Phillies, I believe, or yeah, I think he's in camp with the Phillies or the White Sox, one of those two. Josh Harrison's in camp with the Reds. There are a couple names. Jesse Chavez is still trying to give it a go with the White Sox. And then also a couple, like right now, that names you may have forgotten about. Yours was Chris Paddock.
Chris Paddock, yes.
That's who it was.
Yes.
But, I mean, there's three starters that come to mind right now that I think, okay, people are either out on or they forgot about. One, Alek Manaea. No one even talks about him anymore. He was an all-star, and everyone was raving about him at the all-star game. He has a terrible year last year, gets sent down to single A, and people forget about him. He's lost some weight. He's not as much as Pablo, but he's lost some weight. Wow. And then one more, Sixto Sanchez is back on a big league mound.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I forgot about him too. Huh. Well, I kind of took an older route here. I started finding names out of my brain, old guys who we saw growing up, and I got one for you, Dylan. And the fans are gonna love this. R.A. Dickey.
Wow.
You remember that guy?
Yeah, R.A. Dickey. That's a name right there. That's a throwback.
R.A. Dickey is the true definition of a one-hit wonder. This man won a Cy Young with the Mets, right? Went 20-6, led the league in strikeouts, and the next year he got a bag from the Toronto Blue Jays, and then he fell off the face of the earth. We haven't heard him, seen him since.
Yeah, he was definitely someone that brought it. I mean, it's sometimes all it takes is 1 year to have put your name in the history. I mean, I can't speak to this because it's definitely someone who had a long big league career in terms of innings and racking up performances. But there was 1 year as an outlier. What about Rick Porcello?
Rick Porcello, yes, he was great with the Tigers, and then I believe he had that year with the Red Sox, where he just went off, and he won a Cy Young. Was that 2016?
Yeah, Anibal Sanchez, another one. He really only had 1 year. Ubaldo Jimenez.
Oh, Dylan, I got one for you. I got another one for you. And it's not just one player during this time period. It's a few of these players, but they all share the same last name, the Cabreras. And I'm not talking Miguel Cabrera, because everybody knows who that is. I'm talking Asdrubal Cabrera.
Yeah.
Remember him? At one time, he was a wizard at shortstop. He was, I kid you not, he was on SportsCenter's top 10 every single night, Dylan.
He was a good ball player. I liked watching him play. He killed lefties, being a switch hitter. It was kind of weird how, I mean, obviously someone has one dominant side, but Asdrubal always found a way to get on base right-handed.
Yeah, and a few other Cabreras here. Orlando Cabrera, Melky Cabrera. No, he's a former Yankee. Yeah. Melky. Yeah. Yeah. And one more I got for you. You're going to be like, whoa. I think you're going to forget how good this guy was. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. I'm going to botch his name. Chone Figgins.
Chone Figgins. Little second baseman.
Chone Figgins. Yes. His last year with the LA Angels in 2009, he batted .298, had 42 steals. He led the league in walks and was an all-star. And Dylan, he finished 10th in AL MVP voting.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Imagine having your career like that.
I know. I went back and saw that. I was like, there's no way. Chone Figgins. That little dude.
I'll say this. There's a story that needs to be unpacked. No one ever talks about it, but I'll bring it up here. There's a player that not only may you not have forgotten about, it's the early 2000s, maybe 2010 when you get to it. I'm just going to read you some numbers here. Do you remember Hank Blaylock?
Yeah. He's with the Rangers now, like works in their front office, right?
Hank Blaylock does work in their front office, but I want to talk about why his playing career came to an end because it still baffles me. So he got his debut in 2002, struggled a little bit, but then he won. He was back-to-back All-Stars in 03 and 04. 29 homers, 32 homers, 300, 276 those 2 years. He crushed at the plate. His last year in Texas was 2009, hit 25 homers and 234. So his average dipped a little bit that year. But then he went to Tampa Bay, hit 1 home run, 254, but only in 26 games. That was his age 29 season.
Wow. I forgot about that.
So explain to me how someone who has a career 269 batting average with 153 home runs, why does his career come to an end at 29? There were no injuries reported, nothing going on there. So it's kind of one of those, why did their careers come to an end type of things.
Why did his career come to an end? He just got released? Like
nobody wanted him.
Oh, it was one of those type things.
It doesn't make sense. If I'm Matt Chapman, I'm holding on to this to dear life.
Yeah, yes, because we live in a world where we'll forget about you just like that.
It almost happened. Like he had a great revival. Thank goodness teams were interested. It almost happened to Michael Conforto.
Yeah, Michael Conforto. Yes.
But he got saved by a death line or a helpline from the Giants.
Yes, no doubt. Well, that's
Desmond.
all we. Who?
Ian Desmond. 2020. So he was the Rockies center fielder 2019, opts out in COVID year 2020. He's done. Never heard of him again.
Haven't heard from him since. That's right. Ian Desmond. Man, that's a good name. Hey, anybody watching or listening, if you have any old-time names, like early 2000s, early teens, any big league guys that we forget about, drop the names in the comments. I would love to see them and rehash my childhood, our childhood.